All right. What up? What up? What up? Man, Daniel Augustin here. Instant reaction. Georgia and Alabama. Listen, man, that was one of the craziest games I've ever watched. College football is a video game. I've seen crazy shit go down in the NFL. College football specifically, though, it goes the fuck down. Okay? No holds barred. College football is like those pay-per-view wrestling matches. You don't know what you about to watch. You don't know what you about to see. Just last week, James Madison JMU just whooped the shit out of North Carolina, 70-50. The game got me so out of whack right now. I've already started this off. I'm 1 minute in and I done cussed about 4 times. I'm going off the cuff. I didn't take any notes down. That's how emotional I feel about this game. I don't think I like Carson Beck as a first round pick. I'm going to say why. This is not just a this game reaction. I've been watching him, tracking him throughout the entire season. You know, when you get into the NFL, it depends on where you go. It depends on where you go. The program you go to, the system you go to, the coach you go to, that matters more than what you do in college. What you do in college is your college tape. That's your college resume. Your college resume does show a lot of important things, though. It shows where your accuracy is strong. It shows where your accuracy lacks. Some people's accuracy lacks on the deep ball. Some people's deep ball is beautiful, but they don't have the deep back shoulder. They throw the seam well, but they don't throw the deep ball well. Every quarterback, strengths and weaknesses. Depending on where Carson Beck gets drafted, he will get drafted because he's playing at Georgia. You are awarded certain opportunities just being at a school like that, having been as successful as he's been, as they've been. I'm going to be diplomatic. I'm going to attempt to be, okay, fuck it. I'm going in. Depending on where he gets drafted, that's going to have a huge impact on the rest of his career as a football player. I think Carson Beck will be served well playing for someone like John Gruden, Jim Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan. It's got to be a coach who knows that running the ball is more important, who knows that running the ball is the key to passing. I've been watching Carson Beck all season. I broke down game tape. I just never released that video because sometimes, I get a little self-conscious about the content that I'm releasing. But I broke down game tape on Carson Beck, Georgia. I think it was week 2 or week 3 of college football. I think it was week 2. And that week they played Tennessee Tech. And in that game, Carson Beck threw for 5 touchdowns. So he had a field day. That was after the Clemson game. In the Clemson game, I believe he threw for 2 touchdowns. Now, here's my beef right now. I'm going to direct what I'm saying at Carson Beck. I don't know who's doing the play calling. Georgia needs to run the ball more because Carson Beck is not the best deep ball thrower. When a lot of quarterbacks go into the NFL, one thing that I see that it takes them 1 to 2 years to really kind of start to lean into is, the NFL is like a whole 1 to 2 steps faster than college. In college, you can hold on to the ball a bit and your man could be wide open, but you can sit there and wait until you see it. Okay, yeah, he's open. Cool, I'm going to throw it. Now, boom, you let it go and, deep ball, it looks beautiful. Nobody knows a thing because it was a 75-yard touchdown pass. But in the NFL, you have to play the game of anticipation. You got to be able to see it before it happens. You got to be able to see the linebacker sitting in that spot and know, well, my tight end is climbing up in the seam. He's going to get behind him a bit. And so if I put the ball right in between the linebacker and the safety, I'm good. He'll be there in about 2 seconds. So let me go ahead and throw it now. That's what it has to be in the NFL. You have to have the anticipation. Not only do you have to have the anticipation, but you have to have the dot. Got to be able to put it where it's supposed to be. Georgia threw the ball 50 times tonight. Carson Beck was 27 of 50, 439 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He also had 1 fumble. He also had a safety. He himself was responsible for 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. I did not say that incorrectly. Sometimes I have to repeat myself because what I'm saying is so crazy. 5 turnovers. He himself was responsible for 5 turnovers. He himself was responsible for 5 turnovers. They only lost by 1 touchdown. So that says a lot about how hard they played. That says a lot about Alabama and how much Alabama slowed down as well. Alabama has been out of flex. They're a team whose game tape I broke down as well when they played USF. They can put up a lot of points, but they can sometimes play a lot of backyard football. And so sometimes they can go from looking as polished as they did in that first half to all of a sudden looking like a team that's kind of putt, trying to get it together. Listen, 27-50 is ridiculous. He does not need to throw the ball that many times. I think they maybe were trying to make him throw the ball that many times because there were freshmen back there in the secondary. But the freshmen were stabbing at the ball a lot more aggressively than the wide receivers from Georgia. First of all, let me say this. The wide receivers from Georgia, what the fuck? What's up, y'all boys? What the fuck y'all on, man? What y'all on? I don't give a fuck if Carson Beck is throwing the ball behind you slightly. I don't give a fuck. How many times y'all gonna drop the goddamn ball, man? How many times you gonna drop the ball? That shit was crazy, man. That shit was crazy, man. Y'all didn't act like y'all was trying to win. Y'all didn't want it. Y'all don't want that, man. Y'all didn't want it, man. What the fuck was that, man? What was that? That was crazy. I never seen so many drop passes from a number 2 team in the nation. That was wild. Sometimes your quarterback can't always put it on the dot. Let's be mindful of the fact that it'd be 5, 6, 7 people blitzing. So sometimes it's going to be a little bit behind you. I don't give a fuck. That's why people is paying you in the NIL, and that's why they pay you the big bucks when you get to the league for snatching. I have a big problem. I got a big beef with the Georgia receivers, and I think you could tell because I didn't know I was going to get there just now. Take it back down. Son is upstairs sleeping. My wife is upstairs sleeping. Let me take it back down. Bruh, how many times y'all gonna sit there? The Georgia wide receivers are spoiled. I hope y'all see this. Y'all are spoiled rotten. Y'all are spoiled rotten. You guys are expecting every pass to fall in your lap. Attack the ball! Attack the ball! Y'all gotta come to the ball, man. What are y'all doing? What the I can't tell you how many times I saw them allowing the ball to come to them. Now let's be real here. Take it back down, Daniel. Take it back down, bro. Now let's be real. 2 of those interceptions were Carson Beck's fault. The safety, I don't know if that should have been a safety because there was a wide receiver out there who got his ass jammed up. Had he kept running, had he gotten away from that DB, he would have been in that area and it would not have been intentional grounding. But got Oakland Raiders. Come on. Who need a quarterback right now? Who need a quarterback? Cleveland Browns. Come on, man. Come on, man. Where's the communication? Where's the leadership, Carson Beck? You done been there too long. You done been there too long. You done played in that stadium before. You done played there before. It's a situational kind of pressure. So I understand the pressure of number 2 versus number 4 at the beginning of the season. I understand the pressure. And he said at the beginning of the year that he wanted to win the Heisman and this, that, and the third. I get all of that. I understand how that can feed into the pressure. But you've been there before, and you got to play like you've been there before. You've heard that kind of crowd noise before. He saw Alabama lined up like they were about to blitz, and he panicked. Amazing play by the corner. Amazing play by that corner. Amazing play by that corner. But what the fuck was that? That was wild. 27-50. In my opinion, if the receivers did a better job at attacking the ball, snatching the ball, coming back to the ball, he's 35 of 50. They dropped a lot of passes that, it was fine for them to let it come to them. They just dropped it. Georgia was not focused tonight. I think the team plays better if they see more confidence from their leader. Carson Beck came out there with a very lackluster kind of energy. Some players, it's like they wait for the game to get to this place where they're winning and now they feel good. They don't have that testosterone at the beginning of the game. They got to see 14-0 on the scoreboard, and then they're able to corral the guys and get the guys going. You can't take away the energy from a team who comes out like Alabama did. They came out firing on all ends. They were focused. They were ready for this game. They were ready for Georgia in every single facet. Every single facet. Jalen Milroe, man, he balled, bruh. Man, he balled, bruh. I mean, 27-50 from Carson Beck, but then Jalen Milroe goes 27 of 33. He only missed on 6 passes. He has an interception that shouldn't be an interception. It ended up just being a drop pass because it was great defense. And the receiver ultimately dropped the pass, and it ricocheted into the hands of a Georgia defender. But he goes for 374 yards, 2 tutties, and then he also had 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also had 117 yards on the ground on 16 carries. Jalen Milroe, that was box office. That was box office behavior. Box office behavior. Bro, what was that? That was amazing to watch. Jalen Milroe, that was next level. He's been playing out of his mind. He can be very backyard with it. You know, one of the things I saw about Jalen is he can be very backyard with it. You don't know if he's going to run or pass. He can start running. He could literally look like he's about to tear up the line of scrimmage. And then just with the slightest pullback, lets it go. And it's so strong. This man has a cannon. He wasn't playing like that right there with Nick Saban. That guy right there is different. I'm starting to think Kalen DeBoer might be a quarterback whisperer. I got to dive deeper into his history. But you know, he was working with Michael Penix Jr. That's the true definition of dual threat right now. That's the true definition of dual threat. It ain't just him on the ground. He's killing it in the air. He's killing it in the air. One of the things I noticed about Alabama's wide receivers, right spot every time. They came back to the ball. Ryan Williams. There's only one other freshman that balled like Ryan Williams did today, and that's Jeremiah Smith. But you see, when Ryan Williams did it, it was every time he touched the ball. Let me go back to Carson Beck. A majority of his deep balls, like first of all, Georgia's first possession, it's like they don't know who they are. They came out and kept trying to throw the deep ball. Bro, that's not who y'all are. Y'all was doing that against Tennessee Tech. Cut it out. Y'all ran the ball 18 times and gave Carson Beck 23 other opportunities to make plays. Even when Carson Beck started to make plays, those were plays that you were expecting Georgia to make, yes. Receivers were finally starting to catch the ball. There's still some drops. Even on those plays, yes, he started to read better and see things better. But let me just say like this, though. It's not enough. It's not enough for you to just make a couple plays finally in the third quarter. Big plays, yes, but it's not enough. You know how I know? Because you lost. You lost. You go home with the loss tonight after throwing 3 interceptions, after fumbling. Poetic how bad he was tonight. He needs to thank the Georgia defense more than anything, because the Georgia defense was able to figure out how to slow down Alabama for at least a quarter and a half. And that's why Georgia was able to start making plays. It doesn't matter what you do on offense, bro. It doesn't matter what you do on offense if your defense can't stop nobody. And then vice versa. It doesn't matter what you do on defense if your offense can't score the ball. You have to be able to have some kind of collaboration between both sides. And hopefully it works out in your favor at the end of the game. But you need your defense to support you on offense, and you need your offense to support your defense. If your defense pitches a shutout but doesn't score a touchdown, you lose. If your offense scoring a bunch of points but your defense don't stop nobody, well, now you win 10 overtimes. You need the support on both ends. So the fact that Georgia's defense slowed Alabama down to the point where Alabama only scored 11 points in the second half, from 30 to 11, big change, big difference. I think where Georgia loses this game is they didn't run the ball. Alabama threw for 374, Georgia threw for 439. You better throwing the ball 50 damn times, 11 times. Fuck is wrong with y'all? Did y'all think y'all had receivers like what Alabama has? Did y'all think that y'all had receivers like what Texas and them have? Y'all must have thought that. You guys are a different team, and you need to wake up and realize that. You guys are a better version of Michigan. Georgia's a much better version of Michigan. Run the fucking ball. Run the fucking ball, man. That's what you guys can do well. I'm telling you, that's where it's going to be at. Butter that bread, man. And then put it in the air. I'm telling you. Lull them to sleep. Let Trevor Etienne run the ball. Why the fuck Trevor Etienne in Georgia if you only give the man 12 carries? Y'all don't want Trevor to be the star? Is that the problem? Is Georgia trying to make Carson Beck the star? Does Georgia think Carson Beck is supposed to be the star? Sometimes certain coaches get caught up in what the hype train is supposed to be. They get caught up in what the story is supposed to be, and they end up thinking that they're supposed to do it a particular kind of way because, hey, we got to make sure because we have that kind of quarterback, because we have a quarterback that can, hey, man, read the tea leaves, man. The sign started to show against Kentucky. Trevor Etienne only got 12 carries, but he had 55 yards. He averaged 4.6 yards a carry. So you give Trevor 12 carries, but you give Carson 50 opportunities to throw the ball. Tell me where that makes sense at. Now give Trevor the ball more, and now you probably win the time of possession battle. And now you slow Jalen Milroe down as well as your defense slowing them down. Now you're keeping Jalen Milroe and Ryan Williams on the bench. You need to do that. That needs to happen. You can't have Jalen Milroe out there doing all that. Jalen Milroe out there playing like he on Heisman and everybody else is on All-American. So I got a problem with this, man. Trevor Etienne gets 12 carries, and the next closest person with carries after Trevor Etienne is Carson Beck with 9 yards. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. That's good. Good job for being positive, for getting a net positive with your average on the ground. But why does Trevor Etienne only have 12 carries? This is a message that goes out to whoever the play caller is. If Carson Beck is allowed to make audibles, he needs to call audibles for the run game as well. You are not playing a video game, sir. Your receivers aren't that. So you can't just throw the ball all night. Against certain teams like Tennessee Tech, bro, you could do whatever you want to because your O-line is going to give you all that time too. That's one of the things I caught on that tape. Is that sometimes he got 5 seconds, 6 seconds to throw the ball. So that's not you against Alabama. So now all of a sudden you're pressured, you're hurried, and you're kind of pressured to make a play. And since you're pressured to make a play, your internal clock is going down. Your internal clock is ticking. And you know you're playing against Alabama. And there's pressure coming. And whoop, I got to throw it now. That's not how you played against Tennessee Tech. So now you just threw a pick. Now what? When he threw that quick pop pass, that wasn't even a 2-second hold. He thought they were blitzing. And now he threw it right away, threw it hot. And the corner was sitting on it, broke on the ball. It wasn't even a receiver there. The receiver didn't even turn around. That's how you know the communication is all over the place. That's how you know the communication was fucked up. I ain't cursed like this in none of my videos. I ain't even cursed like this when I was talking about the Gators. I'm not a Georgia Bulldog fan. I'm not. But when I watch bad ball, oh my God, that's hard to digest. That's hard to digest. 27-50? 3 picks? Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Come on, man. They can't win like that. I don't care what nobody say. People are going to try to come for Georgia defense because Jalen Milroe balled his ass off. But they got stops. If it wasn't for the defense getting stops, well, then Alabama would have scored 70. Georgia got back into this game because of the defense. They got back into this game because of the defense. Yes, you made some plays on offense. But if y'all not getting stops on defense, it would have been 70-34. Y'all got lucky. Carson Beck got bailed out by his defense. But this is really on him. The onus is on him. He didn't look good tonight, bro. He didn't look good, bro. Even when he started making plays and making a couple of touchdowns, those plays, those touchdowns really happened more so when his receiver got up on the safety's toes. And that really happened more so when Alabama played their coverage tighter. When they crowded the line of scrimmage, even when their safeties would be up 10, 15, Georgia was able to get behind them. But Alabama wasn't going for that. Alabama wasn't going for that. I don't know what took Georgia so long. I feel like Georgia really tried to match the firepower that Alabama came out with. But Alabama came out, you got to run your race. That's one thing my coach taught me I thought was one of the best philosophies I ever heard when it comes to sports and life. You have to run your race. It's hard to do that when you got somebody that's right next to you and they're running it their way. Noah Lyles gets out there on the track and he starts making all that noise and it might make you feel like you need to get hyped too. Oh shit, here come the camera. No, what is your race? How do you do it? Do you need to center yourself or do you need to wild out? Run your race. Georgia started trying to play like Alabama was playing. Oh, let's put it up in the air too. I guess I'm going to throw for 5 touchdowns and have a Heisman night too. No, Carson, you probably should have thrown the ball tonight probably about 25 times. Trevor Etienne should have been eating tonight. I don't know if Georgia's going to realize that because when their next game, they're going to be playing against an opponent that's not Alabama. And so sometimes you might try to self-correct by trying to show yourself, see, we could do it. And then all of a sudden, you really just put makeup on a pig. But, you know, their next game is against Auburn, and then they got Mississippi State, and then, Lord Jesus, they got Texas. I'm not saying Georgia's a bad team, but Georgia's a team that's not accepting their identity. For some reason, they don't want to feed Trevor. Maybe it's because Trevor's been getting in trouble. And because he's been getting in trouble, them DUIs and all that shit, maybe that got y'all on some like, well, we can't reward him. We can't lean on him. Stop fucking playing. Stop fucking playing, because y'all probably would have won this game. To even be in this game, can y'all be real with yourselves? To even be in this game? On that last drive, Trevor didn't touch the ball on that last drive. They didn't run the ball on that last drive. But no, all Carson Beck all the time. On that last drive, I got to talk about this. On that last drive, when Carson Beck threw those 2 deep balls over there to 8 in the corner, I have a problem with 8. First of all, let me just say, the play beforehand, They could have called the pass interference on that, just simply based on the fact that the corner did not turn around. I've seen that called hundreds, thousands of times. All my life watching football, I've seen that called on the DB. So the ref absolutely could have called that. Would have taken them out of that fourth down and distance situation. The refs didn't bail them out. Georgia didn't deserve it anyways, but they should have called it. It's not even about deserving it. They should have called it just because of how he played it, how that call has been being called for years. Okay? But it's okay. Doesn't get called. Every ref ain't the same. Okay? So now, on that play in particular, 8 couldn't track the ball. The Georgia wide receivers didn't really make spectacular catches tonight. I saw like one spectacular catch. They need everything right here. Those receivers they're not playing like they're special. I'm just going to keep it real. Maybe they are special. Maybe they don't know they're special. Maybe they haven't really sparked that in themselves. Maybe they're just spoiled because they've been winning so many games, and in their first couple of games, against Tennessee Tech, so the most recently, one of their most recent games, everything was just coming right to them. They were just able to run right by the DBs. The O-line was just blocking, just doing whatever they wanted. Maybe that's what it is. But anytime they had one-on-one, I'm going to get right back to my point. Anytime they had one-on-one and Carson Beck was trying to go deep, it was embarrassing how many times they were missing catches. It was embarrassing how many times they weren't able to make plays on the ball. It was embarrassing. Y'all was trying to exploit these freshman DBs, but y'all the ones that look bad tonight. Y'all the ones that look like y'all couldn't get it done. And that falls on Carson Beck and the wide receivers, but I'm going to put it on Beck too, almost more so on Beck from the standpoint of you as the quarterback, you're going to have to be able to put it in a spot, in a very particular spot. He was putting it in a spot where both people could get to it, where it would be contested oftentimes. Tonight, there should have been so many more back shoulder deep ball routes. If Carson Beck had that in his bag, Georgia's going to dominate this game, or at least the game stays close. But the way Georgia's defense started making plays on Alabama, I think Georgia would have won. And the fact that they had the firepower to even come back and didn't even really use their running back, I think they could have absolutely won this game. And just imagine if they didn't have all those turnovers. They lost the time of possession and still almost won this game and still had 5 turnovers. Got sacked 3 times, had 5 turnovers. That's 8 different possessions where you're turning the ball over. That's fucking wild. That's fucking wild. Now let me get back to my point before I wrap this up. Last play for Carson Beck on offense. He throws a deep ball again, and he doesn't put it where it's supposed to be. He doesn't put it over the shoulder. All these seniors, all these returning ball players on Georgia's team, and they lose the game to a freshman DB who makes a pick on Carson Beck and a freshman receiver who makes a play on Georgia's heralded DBs. Wild. Georgia got to live with that. Seeing a wide receiver who doesn't compete, oh Lord. Especially after you got Ryan Williams on the other side, 17-year-old coming back to the ball, snatching the ball up, making the play. Don't let the play be made. Make the play. Make the play. Last thing I want to say, and then I want to get out of here. Ryan Williams is special. Reminds me of Justin Jefferson. Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State, he made a couple catches tonight. I know I'm talking about Alabama, Georgia, but because I'm talking about a freshman, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Jeremiah Smith too. Jeremiah made a couple plays tonight that were just special. He reminds me of Tyreek Hill mixed with somebody else. Tyreek Hill with better ball skills. College football is in a very special place. And I love the fact that these boys got NIL too. They don't need to feel pressed to go to the league. I guarantee you 3 years from now, we're going to see somebody start tanking for those 2 guys, or we're going to see somebody trade up in the draft in a very aggressive way for one of those 2 guys. Special. Listen, that game was a blessing. That was a great game. That was truly a box office baby. That was the one. That game right there was pay-per-view. You don't get those kinds of games at this early in the season. I love it. I think Alabama just set themselves up to be ranked number 1. Blessing. Thank you, NCAA gods, for scheduling that. Both of those programs for scheduling that. I want to see Georgia do better. You guys can, I believe y'all can do better. I believe the receivers can make Carson Beck look better. I believe Carson Beck needs to be better, but I also believe that the offensive coordinator needs to stop leaning into the hype, and he needs to pay attention to the team that he does have. Run the fucking ball. Run the ball. Trevor Etienne should not have a game where he only has 12 carries. He should have 20 carries at least every single game. Every game. Georgia didn't even crack 100 yards rushing this game. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's not going to get it. You need to dominate the time of possession. When I watched USF versus Alabama, the one thing that I noticed about Alabama against USF, the reason why I believe Alabama struggled with USF, it wasn't their corners. It was because they couldn't stop the run. It's because they could not stop the run. USF had a running quarterback, and they were able to run the ball with their running back. And they struggled against USF. USF had 206 rushing yards. 206 rushing yards. Don't let the score fool you. Alabama beat them boys 42-16, but that didn't happen until the fourth quarter. Alabama's got quick strike energy. Alabama, I'm telling you, I see a big backyard behavior from them. Backyard energy is like they playing backyard football. Like, oh, I see you. You go deep, go deep. I'm running, I'm taking off. Alabama has that quick strike energy just like they came out in this game. But they're not really the kind of team right now that just sustains drive after drive after drive after drive. They don't really do that. They're not really just beating you up down the field for a whole 7-minute drive. They can because of the team that they have, but they got these wide receivers that are so fucking talented that it's just, and then Jalen Milroe is just unstoppable. He's like a video game player. So it's hard for him to just be held back to just 5 yards. This guy makes a mountain out of a molehill. Time and time again. The time of possession battle tonight, Alabama won 32-27. Listen, look at this stat. Georgia had 76 total plays. Alabama had 65. With Alabama's 65 total plays, they averaged 8 yards a play, and they scored 41, scored 30 in the first half with just their 65 total plays. They had 65 total plays and still won the time of possession battle. All the while, Georgia had 76 total plays. That means the clock kept stopping because they kept putting the ball in the air, and sometimes the clock would stop because it would be an incomplete pass. Carson Beck went 27 of 50. So that means 23 times it was incomplete or intercepted. So the ball went to the other team or it hit the floor. Say what you want. You can have your opinion. I know I had some really strong takes here, so I could only imagine some people might come for me for some of the shit that I'm saying here. Some people might just have very strong opinions about what I'm saying right now. That's fine. That's all. It's all warranted. And I respect it. Sometimes the shit it could break down to some mathematics. But Georgia, 3 of 15 on third down. Jesus, bro. All right, I'm done. Listen, if you got to this part of the video, I appreciate you because I don't even know how long this is. I went off. I just had to let myself, I had to express myself. Thank you. Would appreciate it even more if you decided to subscribe. Hope you all had a great night. Hope you enjoyed football tonight. Can't wait for tomorrow. It's time for me to call it a night. Peace.